you think you're good at networking, forget about it. Call me and I'll tell you how good do you think you might be. And maybe I'll outline to you how bad actually you really are. You're not actually an 8 out of 10. You're maybe a 2 out of 10. There's no way that the average person understands the complexities of networking and the opportunities that it brings. No way. The inner work is massive because we don't have any frameworks that we've been taught in school. I tell people to start with a mindset and start with a reason to go out. We've not been taught how important to reconnect and re-engage truly is. People don't want to buy a service. People don't want to buy a product. They want to buy a person. Networking is not comfortable. Going global is not comfortable. Moving countries is not comfortable.
How do you build relationships that genuinely move your life forward? In this episode, Gil Petersil and I explore what it actually takes to build real human connection in a world that's getting noisier, faster, and increasingly shaped by AI. We get into why authentic relationships are so hard to form, how culture and gender influence the way we connect, and the inner work required to show up with presence. Gil breaks down intentional networking and simple daily practices that strengthen your ability to create meaningful interactions, both online and offline. We also look at the tension between digital tools, AI, and genuine human contact, and why self-awareness and stepping outside your comfort zone remain irreplaceable. At its core, this is a conversation about understanding yourself first, so the connections you build are real, grounded, and purposeful. No doubt you'll take something away from this episode. If that's the case, please kindly subscribe and leave a review. It helps the show grow, and it means that we can reach more men who are willing to take that next step. Thank you so much. I'm Harrison, and this is the Growth Voyage podcast. Enjoy. We'll get started. Gil, welcome back to the show.
What's happening? Happy to be back, man. This time we're not next to each other. This time we're on two sides of the world, but still coming here with one purpose: to serve people.
That's it, brother. For those who don't know you, what do you do and how do you help people? I love the work that you do. Once we touch upon that, I'm also keen to hear your perspective on what is now really an epidemic with young men especially, but just the world generally, where people are struggling to find authentic connections that really drive their life forward. So I'd love to hear your perspective on that too.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, brother. Thank you. So I'm very well known in some closed communities as a super connector. I'm a business strategist. I've been a public speaker, a coach, and an opinion leader on the topics of quantum networking for quite a few years. As an entrepreneur with more than 20 years experience and many, many successful failures, I find myself today very focused on the different type of events that we're able to optimize, we're able to improve on. We're looking at social infusions quite differently. So I focus on getting on the right stages and getting the audiences connected, getting in front of the right, masterminds or boardrooms, helping people understand strategy and business growth, especially using quantum networking mechanics a little bit instead of using sales or marketing techniques. And I have a movement called Chati, and we're bringing different solutions into networking events and into people's general gatherings in the form of a cup of tea. And we help people get more presence and find more meaningful connections using something as simple as tea.
Yes, and it's a good point as well, right? I think sometimes when you put the emphasis on tea and connecting, there's a different feel to it. I feel like a lot of networking events these days, there's almost an extra layer you have to get through sometimes to get really to the deep core of, oh, what do you do? Why is it meaningful to you? I think there's a lot of surface level talk, and it seems that there are more barriers, right? So I'm intrigued to hear how people can perhaps play that game a bit more strategically. Like you said, I think a lot of guys in entrepreneurship, especially, I think they struggle with outreach, is the term that's used. They struggle with reaching out to people and just doing the status quo, what everyone else does. But I think there's a real magic to actually going on that deep and connecting with someone. So
Yeah,
tell me a bit about that.
it, there's so much to unpack in what you just said, because there is the mindset approach to connecting with people and outreaching just online and starting conversations with people on LinkedIn or on any kind of social media based on who it is that you want to meet with. And then there's the offline approach of knowing which events do I want to show up at and which communities do I want to get involved in. And then how do I show up, and am I showing up with the right kind of mindset and the right kind of energy? So there's so much complexities to already how we try to connect as human beings. And what I've tried to do is I've tried to simplify it and turn it into frameworks to allow people to understand that you can connect with more ease. You can connect with more warmth. It's clear that people are shallow when it comes to meeting someone at a conference or meeting someone at a bar, because that's the situation we're in. We're in a conference. No one knows each other, but really everyone came there for one purpose, to meet other people. We're in a bar. People show up at a bar and there's usually loud music and there's a lot of activities and there's a lot of alcohol. And that doesn't always help us to connect with someone more meaningfully. So I tell people to start with a mindset and start with a reason to go out, have a purpose. So consider it before you leave the house, before you walk into an event. What is my reason for walking into this event? And even though it's not normal to do this, I'm always suggesting to people to, whether you want to close your eyes and go all spiritual about it, or whether you want to open your phone and literally just write it into your phone and tell yourself, hey, tell God, tell the universe, whatever it is that you want, tell other people, why is it that you came out this evening, or why is it that you came to this conference, and who are the kind of people that you wish to connect with? So just start with that. It's the same thing as people setting goals in their lives. Just start with telling yourself and telling others, telling the universe, telling your community, write it on your phone, what is my purpose right now for networking, and be as specific as you can. And it's the same thing as, you know, learning how to play the piano. It's going to feel uncomfortable in the beginning. You're going to be shit at it at the beginning. If you want to learn how to play the piano, the first few weeks, few months, you're not going to sound good at all. So I tell people the same thing. If you think you're good at networking, forget about it. Call me and I'll tell you how good do you think you might be. And maybe I'll outline to you how bad actually you really are. And it's not me criticizing someone. It's me breaking down the science of networking and showing to people, well, you're not actually an 8 out of 10. You're maybe a 2 out of 10. And once you realize where you are in networking, you're like, wow, imagine me growing from a 2 out of 10 to a 4 out of 10. I'm like, I'm a 200% of optimizing my potential to connect out there. I'm a 200% in more probability of connecting more meaningfully. I'm a 200% of attracting better quality of opportunities into my life. So I get people to just say, hey, how about you be curious on how much better you can improve in networking? Start with that.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Again, I remember our previous conversation where you think you're good at networking. You think, okay, I'll stay on top of them. But a lot of the time we don't. We don't. And we don't actually know who we want to meet as well. I think that's a great point with these networking events. I think when you just go in and wing it, you're kind of playing a bit of a guessing game, really. And I think it just ties in with all types of manifestation, for example. If you don't know what you want to call in, then you're going to get mixed results. If you don't have a direction, you're going to be wandering off and then just meet whoever. So I really like that approach. And you can apply that not only to work, to all types of relationships, right? I know even in the dating space, if you want to meet an aligned partner, the place where you go is most likely going to be a different likelihood of finding that person, right? A bar versus a tea club, for example, or a book club or a gym, wherever it may
I
be.
think a teacup is the ideal way of meeting people. Again, you're being in England. Tea is definitely has a very, very big history. People want to meet for a cup of tea. You show up at someone's house, they offer you a cup of tea. You're showing up to a business meeting, they offer you a cup of tea. But we've lost the codes behind cup of tea. We've lost this codes that, tea is around for thousands of years, and it started off as a way to pacify relationships and to bring bring countries into more peace instead of war. It brought it to a position of healing. If you don't feel well, someone offers you a cup of tea. If you're stressed, someone offers you a cup of tea. If you come home after a long day of work and you want to just disconnect from everything and you just want to connect with your family member at home, they offer you a cup of tea. But we don't do that anymore. We come home from work and we get on social media. We show up at Starbucks with someone, we get a quick cup of tea to go or coffee to go. We go out with people and we go to the bar and we drink alcohol because we think it helps us connect. So I've become not just a bigger lover of tea. I've always loved tea, but I've actually gone very deep into the science behind tea and the history behind tea and the potential it has as a biohacking tool, as well as a human connection and human presence vehicle.
It's a very grounding practice. And even I imagine I'd love to check it out someday, but I imagine also it's a talking point as well. You connect over a mutual interest, something as simple as tea. And for some people, they might not actually know that much about it, but it's just something to explore together. So yeah, I definitely resonate with that. And you mentioned a good point there. A lot of the time, we're just very busy. We're on to the next thing all the time. And what I really like about the work that you do is actually just centered around presence. Okay, let's really understand what's going on here. It's not, okay, I do this as a tagline. And I think there's something deeper about really just slowing down, taking it in, and just taking your time with connections, right? I know in my journey, I used to struggle a lot with conversations, and it's a constant journey, right? But I remember I wouldn't be present. I'd always be thinking about, okay, what can I say next? How does this person perceive me? Whereas if you can slow down, and like you said, I think at first it might be a bit uncomfortable, but if you can slow down, really take in what someone's going to say, and then I think you can get a lot out of that conversation. Is that an approach you put a lot of emphasis on as well, really taking your time with conversations? And how do you know when a conversation has perhaps run its course? How do you know whether to stay longer? Are you always intentional about what you want to get out of a conversation, or do you sometimes let it flow a bit and explore to see if there's more synergies perhaps?
Yeah, so that's such a impactful question you're asking here, because it's very much about ensuring that people don't waste time. And, I'm always bringing the relevancy of time and time allowance and how much time do we have right now for this conversation. And, you know, if I'm going to an event right now and I know that I'm going to be at this event for about 2 hours or 3 hours, then, and I know that I came to this event maybe looking for some new friends or looking to meet a woman, or I came to the event maybe because I'm looking to meet investors right now, or I really need some new marketing advice from people. Like I came to the event with some level of purpose, not randomly hoping to meet someone. So, that's really, really important. The other day, I was speaking to one of my old clients, and, she's telling me that she's single again and that she wants to come to events. And I was like, hey, I got an event coming up here next week. Why don't you come in? And I see her at the event. And at the end of the event, I come to her and I say, hey, how was the event for you? Like, you said you're single, you're looking to meet some new men. And she's like, yeah, but I didn't find the men I could see myself being with. I was like, well, I saw you a few times and you were mostly talking to women. And she's like, yeah, but I found it easier. I was like, well, the whole idea is like you're single and you want to meet a man again. So start conversations with men, whether they're like your ideal future husband or not. Just start conversations with men, get comfortable with men. So be intentional with what it is that you want to achieve. And if you're coming to an event hoping for clients, don't go to everyone and start selling yourself to them, but go to the event and be curious. What kind of help people need right now, and what kind of support they need, and what kind of services they have right now. And don't go into sales mode of like, telling them, talking too much about you, because people don't want to buy a service. People don't want to buy a product. They want to buy a person. So they'll be more inspired by you if you're curious. They'll be more inspired by you if you're asking really good questions. So instead of asking people, why do you do what you do? Go into questions like, what gets you up in the morning and what are you passionate about these days? And what do you need help with these days? That's a really good, if you're a coach and you want to get clients, and ask people what kind of help they need. And you might find it strange. You're like, actually, Gil, it doesn't sound like the right question to ask people. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's like, again, like you haven't played a piano, but I'm putting you in front of a concert and telling people go and play the piano right now. And you've now had a lesson. It's the same thing. People feel comfortable to ask, what do you do and where are you from? They feel comfortable to ask shallow questions. It's the same thing as someone who's never learned how to cook and who ends up cooking the exact same food all the time. It gets boring. It gets very comfortable. Like when I was living in London in my 20s, I didn't have much money, but I really enjoyed speed dating. I really enjoyed like learning how to meet people through speed dating. And what I learned is like, hey, because I don't have much money, the ideal way to get a woman, in a space where she feels comfortable and safe and there's a lot more maybe intimacy and a lot more connection is how quickly can I invite her over to the house for a dinner? And because it was speed dating, so I had a lot of different dates. So I was able to cook the same thing again and again and again. And they were all very impressed with that one meal. But then when some of them wanted a second and a third, kind of date, and they're like, oh, forget restaurant. I really liked your food so much better. Let me come over to the house. I'm like, okay, first of all, as a young man, like, yeah, you want to come over to the house? Yes, win, win, win. But it was like, okay, I got to get creative. I got to get uncomfortable. I got to start cooking some new things. I got to get, more like, innovative with what it is that I'm cooking because I'm trying to keep them engaged. I'm trying to keep them interested. It's the same thing with any situation in networking. You want to keep them engaged and you want to keep them interested in you. So a way to keep them interested in you is to be interested in them and to ask really good questions and to try to be innovative with the way you're engaging in conversation, the way you're speaking about something interesting. Depending on the event you're at, can you speak about the speaker? Can you speak about the art around you? Can you can you try to be a little bit better every time? That's why I tell people be honest with how truly good you are at networking instead of just acting like you're amazing at it and you don't really need any help.
That's a wicked point, and I think it ties in with self image anyway. I think a lot of the time perhaps a barrier to authenticity is trying to come across as this perfect person, whereas the reality is imperfect people are attracted to imperfect people, right? Because we're all human. So I think a big barrier to that is that. And actually, if you can just go, hey, you know what? If I can just be a little bit better, maybe I'm going to try and spend this amount of time with this person, or maybe I'm going to see if I can add value to this person. Or I think just those incremental steps. And it's something I thought about recently. I think a lot of the time as men, we feel as though we have to be the finished product now. Whereas actually, you just need to be on that trajectory. I feel as long as you're improving yourself a little bit every time, you're going to get more value out of your experience, and you're also going to feel good about yourself. And people will also see that. I think people will appreciate effort. You mentioned a good point there about our patterns, perhaps. Do you think subconsciously we are looking to stay comfortable and perhaps we get in our own way? Do you feel as though a lot of these connections perhaps are placed there, the opportunities there for the taking to form a fantastic connection, but we kind of get in our own way? How much does sort of the inner work play a role in meeting great connections?
So I think the inner work is massive, because we don't have any frameworks that we've been taught in school. Society has not taught us any frameworks on how to connect and reconnect. For example, one of the frameworks I really like is CARE, CARE. And CARE is first you start with contextualizing and start to understanding what is the context of this meeting and what is the context of me connecting with this person. And maybe it's not the first time you meet them and you don't have to stay shallow. Like it's the second time you meet them, go deep right away. What's the biggest thing that's happened to you in your life right now? What's the most important aspect of your business right now that you need the biggest help with? Like go deep into the context of things. Like show them that you care. And number two, after you look at care, you look at to acknowledge. So acknowledge something about them. Hey, I've noticed something on your social media, or I noticed that you're always showing up with energy, or like, why? Why do you look so good? And why you look so young? Like, what, you working out? Like, acknowledge something about them that shows them that you really, really care. Like, go into that little detail. And then there is the R, the re-engaging. So re-engaging is one, you can meet someone at an event and maybe you talk to them, and maybe 1 hour later, you re-engage the same person. Maybe you connect them with someone else. Maybe you see them in a group with some other people and you re-engage that person again. Or maybe it's even after the event and you follow up with them and you re-engage them. Like, we've not been taught how important to reconnect and re-engage truly is, but re-engaging someone. If you go to an event for 3 hours and you meet someone really interesting and you talk to them for a few minutes and really nice conversation, you exchange information like, hey, I'd love to stay in touch, let's meet up. There's nothing stopping you from re-engaging that person within that event again. But for some reason, people don't do that enough. They don't they don't think about the importance of that re-engaging, of the touching point again. And imagine in one evening, you've re-engaged with the same person 3 times in different spaces. One, next to the bar. Two, next to the food. Three, sitting down with a few other people in a mastermind. Like, suddenly you've built a relationship with them in one evening, which is really, really powerful. And the fourth level of the care is to extend. To extend meaning, don't think that you need to close the deal tonight. Don't think that everything needs to end right now. Don't think that you need to sell them on everything and who you are, and you need to understand everything about their business right away because you just met them. The extend mindset is really saying, like, I really care about you. Can we meet again for coffee or for tea on Wednesday of this week? Yes, wonderful. Let's connect. I'd love to extend our conversation further. I don't have to talk to you right now for 1 hour because we're in an event. There's 200 people in an event. Like, I want to show you that I care. I want to show you that I'm interested. But, we've been talking for like 5 minutes or 10 minutes. That's enough. Let's extend it further. Let's follow up with each other. So this care approach is very, very important because it allows us to build some frameworks as to how we connect to people and how we stay connected.
I think that's a that particular. I mean, they're all fantastic points, but the one that really stuck with me was, okay, we know this is an interesting connection. Let's move. Let's extend this to another point. And I can really relate to that because I think sometimes when you do get into a really good conversation, sometimes it can be tricky to leave, not even out of a people pleasing context, but just because you find the other person so interesting and you kind of get carried away in a sense. So I like that approach of just saying, okay, right, we're cool, we vibe, there's a nice energy here, let's take this further. Or okay, I'm intrigued by how to exit a conversation though, because I imagine you've come across this several times. Let's say you meet someone at an event and you're having an interesting conversation. Now somebody else might come in and they might start talking to this person as well. Then after that, you might have another person. So suddenly it started off just you two. Now there's like 3, 4, 5 people, but then you're just interested in this one person. And how do you leave that conversation then? Do you just kind of leave the conversation? Do you interrupt a bit? This part I'm fascinated by because it's a situation I've encountered several times myself.
Yeah, so you're going into very, very deep networking strategy that majority of people don't know how to behave. Um, so many of us don't know how to start conversations, and then so many more don't know how to end the conversation, how to exit conversation, how to um the conversation, a relationship, a collaboration could potentially be never ending because again, you can re-engage someone at an event. The important part is to see if you could learn how to tango with a person, how to dance with that person. So can you lead the conversation? So if someone suddenly starts talking about politics or something super, super boring, can you lead that conversation by saying, it sounds like you're really, really into politics. I'm curious, how does that affect your everyday work? And currently, are you working on something that's a lot more exciting for you than politics? So bring it back to what you want to talk about. Like if someone is talking about something random and they're complaining about the government or complaining about traffic, you know, It sounds like you've had a pretty uncomfortable day. I'm sure that the next few days are going to be amazing. What are you mostly looking out for? Like, bring it back to positivity. Bring it back to where you want to lead it. Like, take the conversation further, because if you want to talk to that person, maybe they've had a bad day, and that's okay. Like, acknowledge them for that. They've had a bad day. Maybe they don't want to talk about business at all. They just want to talk about something personal right now. And that's okay. And say, listen, it sounds like you've had a long business day. Out of curiosity, these days, are you a lot more into going to the gym, or are you a lot more into paddle? Like, just bring it to something personal, and there's just allow that conversation to just go ahead for a couple of minutes. And based on what they say, since, listen, that's really amazing. I'd love to meet up with you a little bit more. And maybe we meet up at the gym, or maybe we meet up for a cup of tea and talk a little bit more about what we do for business. Let's exchange information and I'll follow up with you. And then it's really up to you if you have the courage to follow up with them. And if a few more people are joining the conversation, and you feel like you need to exit it. So that's, again, gets a little bit more complicated. There's one person, you can end it by complimenting and say, listen, it sounds like you're an absolutely amazing person. And I'd love to stay in touch with you. Can we connect on where's the best place for you to connect with? And that's also a whole lot of process. Do you connect on LinkedIn, on Instagram? Do you connect on WhatsApp? If you do connect on WhatsApp, I highly recommend to get them to not just scan your information and keep it, but to scan your information and right away send you something, send you a hello, send you a cup of tea. I tell people, just send me your favorite emoji right now. What I love to do is I like to take a selfie, and right away I have that discipline to say, nice meeting you at this event, CoinFest. So right away, I have it saved on my phone that I've met them at that space. And one of my hacks is right away, I also right click on that name and I leave it as unread. So I leave it as unread on my phone so that I can always come back to it in the next couple of days and follow up with everyone that's been unread, so that I know I want to follow up with this person. So that's a really good tip if you want to end the conversation with someone, but you're interested in following up. If you don't want to follow up, you can always say, hey, man, really nice, interesting meeting you. Good luck with your project. Just to let you know, I'm really looking to hire a new marketing manager. And I actually came to this event looking for them inspiration on how to find a marketing person, just in case you do meet someone. Remember, I'm Gil from Chati, looking to meet some epic marketing people. Out of curiosity, tell me in 1 minute or less, who do you want to meet and why? Let them tell you who they want to meet. And then you said, cool, if we can help each other in the next couple hours, let's do that. Nice meeting you. Bye. And you're kind of leaving them feeling like, wow, I can add value to them. If there is a group of people that come together, um, and they're talking to each other and not necessarily to you, you could choose to just, you know, excuse me, and just walk away. That's okay. You could do that. In some cultures, that's okay. And in other cultures, you might feel uncomfortable. So what some people do, which I find strange, but I know it's fake sometimes, they take their phone out and act like someone, and they're like, and they walk away like someone's calling them. And I so know it's fake, but it's okay. It makes them feel comfortable, no problem. And some people will just say, um, "Hey, gentlemen, sounds like the conversation is going towards sports right now. Not a topic that is very important for me right now. I'm more looking to talk to people that are into AI and crypto technology right now. So if you guys are into that space, catch me later. I'll be by the T bar." Boom, and you just walk away. You don't, you don't disrupt the conversation. And this is, of course, if you have the courage to say that. Some people are maybe introverts and they're shy, and English is not their first language, so they could just walk away, and that's okay. It also takes a lot of practice to understand how to walk away. And I tell people, you're never going to learn unless you start doing it.
Do you think then meeting people offline in person is a must then? Because a lot of people, perhaps, I mean, you'll see it in Bali, right? Of course, there's connecting events there, but a lot of the time we make our professional connections online. Do you think that misses a big element of connecting then? Because I found for myself, when I meet people in person, they get a feel for my energy, I get a feel for theirs, and we can connect on a much deeper level. So in terms of the online space then, do you think it's quite limiting, or do you think there's still a way you can incorporate all the stuff that you're doing, but with someone you've only met
Percent.
virtually.
Online and offline is almost the exact same thing these days, as long as people are willing to try new strategies of doing it. So if you're connecting in communities with people on LinkedIn or even on WhatsApp, send people a short voice message. They'll get a feel of your energy. Send them a 30-second voice message and engage them in a nice, friendly way. Like there are a few communities here in Bali that I'd love once a week. What I do is I send them a 1 minute a video message. You know, that little circle when you hold on to the camera and you send a quick 1 minute video message, and people get to see where I am. They get to feel my energy a little bit. And that's more than enough to network with people. And then you're creating a vibe for the community to feel into. And if they like it, then they'll follow up with you. You can give them a reason, tell them who you want to follow up with, and tell them why you're sending that message. But for me, of course, there's always, you know, benefits to networking online, but there's also a lot of benefits to networking on offline. So I can't say that one is better than the other. I say that we're very fortunate that we are in such an advanced age of we're able to network both offline and online. Living in Bali, like if I look at the time that I spend to network with people, I spend it more than 80% of my time I'm networking online. More because I'm interested in networking with a lot of people who are not in Bali. I'm currently spending a lot of time with people in Silicon Valley, spending a lot of time with people in Singapore, in Hong Kong, in Japan, people that are relevant to the world of tea. I'm spending a lot of people like really with all over the world, but I've been quite intentional with spending more time networking with people online because my network is global, and my network, I cannot rely only on the people that are living in Bali because it's a very specific type of a person that shows up in Bali. And hey, I've lived in 7 countries and I've met people all over the world. Can I have the discipline to follow up with all of them? Like, I lived in Russia for 10 years. I lived in England for 10 years. I lived in Canada for 10 years. Why not try to engage with some of those people? Because, hey, I met them a year ago. I met them 6 months ago. Why should I not follow up with them? And sometimes that feels strange to people to like, oh my God, I met this person 2 years ago and it was such an amazing connection. And we knew each other for a few months. It was so powerful, but they moved away and I'm not in touch with them anymore. It's the thing. It's the same thing as saying, 2 years ago, I one time I cooked this incredible meal for this incredible friend and it was such a good meal and I can never cook it again. No, cook it again. Follow up with someone. It doesn't matter if it's been 1 or 2 or 3 years. Follow up with someone, try to cook it again. It might not feel so comfortable to cook it again if you haven't cooked it for 2 years, if you don't have a recipe. But that's why I come in. I give people recipes on how to build relationships in a more meaningful way. And people should not act like they could just improve networking. I tell people, you want to go to the gym and you want to get healthy, you're probably going to end up working with a trainer. Yeah. You want to learn how to play the piano very well? Yeah, maybe you're a genius and you're one out of a million that can learn how to play the piano without a teacher. But realistically, majority of people that play the piano, they learn to do it with a teacher. So I'm telling people, you don't have to work with me. You don't have to buy one of my courses. I got this amazing new course that I've recently joined that put a lot of my quantum networking codes into one place. And I've never done this before. I've always said, no, you want to meet me, you want to learn about my codes, come to one of my masterminds. I wanted to have this more interaction with people. I want to teach people everything hands-on because it's so complex. But now I tell people, hey, if you want to go learn the piano, you don't have to work with someone face to face. You can actually watch a course and learn how to play the piano. So I decided it's about time to do that as well. And I got myself out there. I sat with my team and we put together an epic course. What I've learned over the last 15 years, put it in a very, very simple course that teaches people about quantum networking codes, meaning this super detailed information that we don't tend to think about. We don't tend to think about how do we feel at this moment before going out to the event, and can I switch that in a minute? Or how do I resonate with the speakers at the event, and if I don't fully, can I maybe research them? And then I can feel more connected with the speakers or the topic of the event. So then when I'm connecting with people, I could say something positive about the speaker to get things going. So I'm not someone that says, well, I actually don't get the speaker, or I didn't want to listen to him. It's too boring for me. No, no. You're showing up at the event. Come in with some positive energy and come in ready to connect with people.
Mm, yes. And it makes so much sense, right? You're going to get more value out of something if you've done a bit of research beforehand. There's so many layers that go into it. And I really like this idea you've touched upon of, okay, how can I add value to people? And I wonder if a lot of the time, of course, there's a big element or emphasis placed on reaching out to new people, meeting new people. But do you think there's a lot of perhaps missed or hidden opportunities in our existing network? Perhaps opportunities, you could almost call it alignment, synchronicities that we're not always so clued up on, perhaps?
100%. There's no way that the average person understands the complexities of networking and the opportunities that it brings. No way. It's just, it doesn't, it's the same thing as, you know, because we come from so many different cultures, there is no way that the average person that comes from England understands all the cultures from the other person, like from China, from India, and from America. It's the same thing as someone from India who's just moved to England and is meeting an American or he's meeting a Polish person, they fully understand how to network with them. No, no, no. We're all from different countries. We all have different backgrounds. We all have different ways of networking. It doesn't really matter what country you're from. So, one, there's men and women. We network in completely different ways. Don't even get me started on that. And then there's different cultures. You know, we network in different ways. We've been taught how to network differently, how to trust faster, how to speak with a lot more energy. Some cultures speak a lot more with their bodies and they're a lot more, open and a lot more extroverted. And some cultures, are a lot more introverted and a lot more shy in the way they speak. And if you put an American together next to a Japanese person and they've never had this with each other, that is not going to end well at all. It's not going to end well unless the American has been taught or pre framed on how to network with Japanese people, or unless this Japanese person has been pre framed on this specific type of culture in American and how to re engage. That's not gonna go anywhere. Meaning, even though they are perfect strategic partners in business, perfect client, supplier, vendor partnership, alliances, collaborators. Unless they have had the pre-framing or the codes on how to connect, that opportunity is lost. And it's the same thing with people showing up at an event and not being clear with who they want to connect. They'll just waste time talking to people. So there's a lot of opportunity lost that are there. Or unless people don't take advantage of this hack of telling people at an event why you're there. Find a way to tell people why you're at this event. Tell people why you came to the event. Tell people what kind of people you're interested in meeting. Like literally, continue telling everyone. And easiest way to tell people who you want to meet is ask them, what kind of people do you want to meet at this event? And if they say, well, I don't know, I'm just trusting that the right person will come my way. No, 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 no. Come on, let's have fun together. If you can meet anyone ideal in your life in the next 10 minutes, who would it be? And what would you want to talk to them about? Ask people such questions. And what you're creating is you're allowing the network, all these kind of nets, to come closer together. And as soon as they come closer together, all these opportunities become a lot more clear. Because an opportunity is not really something in our imagination. An opportunity is a human being that understands what we can offer and understands what they can offer. And then we have a conversation about it.
Yes, you did. I remember you did a post and it was along the lines of, okay, how do you become, what are you known for as a guy? Are you known as the person who puts things together, makes stuff happen? And I think touching upon that point as well, I know you've also talked about, okay, that's a great scenario. Oh, you want to meet this person. So you're the guy who connects people together. I think there's something really cool about that. But then I think you also touched upon how you can sometimes be left out of arrangements, right? So if you've put two people together, you've suddenly been left out and you're not included. So is there, I imagine that's all tied up in the work that you're doing now, but what's the difference between somebody who is known for making stuff happen versus somebody who just doesn't really get the credit and helps other people without receiving anything back in return, which I appreciate is actually not a bad mindset to have, to just give value to people. But I know there's a bit of discernment there.
Yeah, so it's a very complex question because there's some people that write me almost every week. I get a few people writing me and asking me how to monetize their network. And yeah, you of course you can monetize a network. It's by understanding people's wishes and the opportunities they're looking for. And most people don't have clarity on that. And then connecting the dots together. And of course, you can monetize that. You can ask for commissions. You can ask for payments. In some cases, you can even ask to be paid ahead of time because you're a professional super connector. So you don't have to wait until there is a result. You could say, hey, I'll put you in a room with these kind of people, but you pay me before I even talk to any of them. That also happens. In some cases, if you're very new at this and you're not necessarily a super connector, but you love people and you know people, I think it's great to start connecting people. If someone thinks they're great at networking, but they're not actively connecting people together, then they're not good at networking. They're okay. They're really, really just okay. I think that, saying that you're like, to me, connecting people together, meaning that you're at a level 4 out of 10, meaning that I am constantly sharing my network out there, constantly, constantly. So the reason it's a level 4, because I believe it's at least 4 times a week. At least 4 times a week, I'll connect people together. And I'm not asking them to give me something in return. Sometimes I'll say, guys, I believe in this relationship so much. I'd love to stay in touch. Let me know when we can set up a call. For now, why don't each of you share a little bit more about what it is that's most relevant for you? I have a clear intention to help you guys build this relationship. And based on talking to both of you, I feel that there's a really strong deal that can happen before the end of the month. Yeah, so you could say that, or you can also just introduce them and say, John and Sarah, I want to connect you guys together, blah, 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 but John, blah, 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 but Sarah, say some nice words about them. And guys, I'm not looking to stay in touch in this relationship. I will stay in the group to make sure that you guys actually connect, because unfortunately, in most cases, you connect people together, but they give up on each other. They don't know how to connect actually. So I like staying in the groups, and I'll audit those groups once a month at least. And if I see that they haven't connected, I'll say, hey, if you guys connected already, would love to hear some good news. Or when you guys are connecting, send me a nice selfie with yourself. And sometimes I'll say, wow, Gil, thank you for pinging it. I got so busy. I forgot about this. So sometimes I'll say, yes, Gil, I actually DM'd him already and we already started doing business. Send me your bank account. I want to send you a little bonus to say thank you. And I love that. So I tell people, don't try to, if you're not regularly connecting people, don't try to just monetize every introduction. It's not fair. It's like saying to the universe, every single connection you gave me is my connection. No, you were just lucky in that moment and you met that person and then maybe you found a way to stay in touch with them. But it's completely okay to share contacts with people. And, if you find that you want to ask for a commission, then start building that brand for yourself as a connector. Start building that brand for yourself as a facilitator. Start building that brand as someone who can cross pollinate. And a part of my brand, I've been known to help people take their company to another country. I'm really, really good at help people take a company and enter the Indonesian market, or enter the US market, enter the Russian market, enter the European market. In recent years, I've been asked by many, many companies to enter the Dubai market, for example. And I say to them, yes, guys, like one, I want you to be very, very clear with who it is that you want to meet, and let's set up a strategy on what kind of connections you want and who is your ideal distributor or who is your ideal strategic partner. And let's put together a list of who those could be. And then also let's put together a strategy of how to stay in touch with those people. Because sometimes connecting to people is not enough because they don't know how to connect with each other. So in my case, I really help facilitate that connection, and I love helping bring it to a deal. And I recommend to more people to do that. We need that.
Mm. Yeah, I think some people just need their hand held through the process sometimes. So yeah, I love what you're doing. Before we close, I wanted to touch upon AI quickly. Naturally, there's a lot of fear surrounding it, or of course, authentic connection as well. Naturally, the way I see it is you may as well be an optimist, right? I think whenever there's fear around, it's okay, how can you rise above that? So what's your take on AI connecting? Do you think eventually people are going to perhaps want more, crave more human connection as we move forward? Or do you think there's going to be a bit of a disconnect or a change in the way we go about things?
Yeah, so thank you for that. I love this topic very much because in the last 2 years, I've gone super deep on becoming a master prompter. I've gone very, very deep into building a relationship with AI, getting my teams to learn how to use AI regularly. We pay over $1,000 a month for our company right now with different AIs. So we're not trying to like use the free versions. We do believe in investing in these different AI companies and using them for whatever purpose we have to optimize, to create, to co-create, to create automation, and we're far from perfect. Just last week, I brought in someone to help train my team on, what's new out there in the last few months. There's new things happening all the time. And yes, just like the internet did, there like many people said, as soon as the internet came in, people were so focused on their computers and sitting on the internet and doing all kind of crappy things instead of going out there and connecting with people. And then we said the same things when the social media came. We say that people are so much on social media, they're not so much in connecting with people. And the same people are saying the same thing right now. Because of AI, we'll have a lot more disconnection with people. Yes, you can always see both sides. You can always see the cup is half full or half empty. I recognize that AI will be a challenge for human connection. For some people who allow it to be, I don't. I allow it to optimize the way I reconnect with people. I allow it to remind me of who I should connect with and why. I allow it to help my team to create more meaningful ways of following up. I get my team to create more solutions that we can help more people with content. So that's how we're able to create more content that I can give out for free. In the past, I was giving out a lot for free, so much for free. But then people were saying, well, you're giving me so much for free, Gil. I don't have to pay you any money. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. What's going on? I'm still an expert. I'm still a professional. I'm still a coach. If you're just taking for free, number one, it's not good for my money karma. I need to exchange money with some people. So I'm paying money out. I need to also receive money in. And AI helps me to balance that out in different ways. I really believe that AI, there will be some companies soon, maybe Apple will do it, where the fact that I be holding on to the phone itself, AI would recognize that I am holding on to the phone. And based on that, it will tell you that it's really me. It will authenticate my DNA to the phone, and it will authenticate that it was me that sent it to you. Otherwise, you know, we're not in a good position. We're really, really not, because today your family members, your friends can easily receive a video of you, sounds like you, looks like you, asking for help, asking for money. And last year I was actually scammed. I received a very beautiful message from a friend of mine on Telegram. I was sure it was him. I wrote him back, um, and I sent him a voice message, and he sent me a voice message back. He really needed help. He needed $1,000. I sent it to him. Didn't think anything of it. Few days later, I saw a message on his Instagram saying that he's been hacked. I was like, what? I called him on Instagram, and I was like, brother, are you kidding me? I sent you money. He's like, no, I'm sorry, Gil. You did not send me that money. I was like, that was really good. Like, and I don't mind that I was hacked. I was like, okay, like he was hacked and I was scammed, but I was like, that's really cool. I'm like, and I sent a message to that person once again, and I saying, hey, congratulations for getting $1,000 from me. Full respect that you managed to treat me so well. It's never happened to me before. I really hope you need the money more than I do. Please do me a favor and give some of it to charity. I sent that to them because I was like, you know what? They managed to outsmart me. And I was like, okay, good for them. It's $1,000. Yes, it's a lot of money, but it's also not that much money. Maybe they needed it more than I did. So I know that AI is going to create a lot of challenges when it comes to networking, because especially when it comes to online networking. Authenticity, people will not know if it's really you or not, which is why the movement of Chati is so important, which is why my movement of all about social infusion is so important, because the world is going to go more and more and more into let's connect offline, or let's connect on a Zoom call. Let's connect for a virtual tea. And that's where we aim to make a big difference, to help people connect meaningfully, both online and offline, for a cup of tea, something that AI will never be able to take away from us.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And it's going to continue to be more important, I believe. So yeah, and it's really funny. I loved your approach to the hacker. It's like, yeah, you know what? Fair enough. Like you got me good. And it goes to show, because I always used to think, oh, it's just maybe vulnerable elderly people who get scammed. But you see it all the time now. Everyone's getting done left, right, and center. You hear all these stories. So yeah, who knows what's going to happen? But
And it was
like,
really well done. Again, in the past, it was only text. This time, he sent me a voice message from the guy. And he's like, hey, Gil, brother. Like, it sounded like him. Like, it was great. I was like, hey, I respect the person from being so innovative about it. And I've learned my lesson. Good stuff. I'm happy to learn lessons the hard way in life. I think that's the best way to learn and grow, is going through something uncomfortable. And that's what I always tell people. Networking is not comfortable. Going global is not comfortable. Moving countries is not comfortable. Trying to attract new clients in a new country, or new investors and new mentors, is not comfortable. You can either try to do it yourself and you'll figure it out with time. Yeah. Or you can pay for a mentor. You can get a coach to commit to you. And it's not telling people, come all of you to me. Find someone that does it for a living. Find a networking coach, commit to them, and grow quickly. I believe in seismic shifts. And I think in 2026, especially, it's the year of the horse, the Chinese astrology. Now we had the year of the snake, and a lot of people felt like they needed to shed, and they needed to go through these vortex, and they need to let go of things, and they need to move around through networks and go through challenging, uncomfortable situations in their lives. 2026 is when you gallop, when you start running, when you jump over hurdles, you move away from one herd to another herd. You find your community so much more. And the year of the horse is the year I really believe in. So I tell people, get your strategy in order for networking. Put the right frameworks in front of you. Today, I give you guys the CARE framework. There's the PINK framework, the warmth framework. There are so many frameworks out there. And if people want them, just write me anywhere. Social media, easiest place to find me. I'm the only Gil Petersil on Google. So finding me on Instagram or LinkedIn or even Facebook, I'm still active on all three. And if you want to hear from me, ladies and gentlemen, easiest way is to send me a voice message. I am not using AI yet to respond. If you send me a 1 minute voice message, it is me. And definitely tell me where you heard me. If you heard me on this specific podcast, I'd love to know that.
yeah, maybe if you send a voice message, just don't ask for money, so you don't get
Well, if you
confused.
ask for money, you can ask me to help you make money. Yes, I love, because of I've gone very, very deep into money karma in the past year, very, very deep into it. Um, People asking me to help them with money is okay. I'm not going to give them money unless they're teaching me or doing something for me, because I've given a lot of people money in the past, and it hasn't helped me as much, and it hasn't helped them as much. But I love helping people make money. It's wonderful.
Wicked. What we'll do, we'll put all your links in the description. Definitely a link to your course as well, because there's, even just from this conversation, there's so many little gems in there that people can learn from, which is fantastic. What we'll do, we'll head into the closing traditions. The first two are usually asked by myself, and then the third one is asked by a member of the Growth Voyage community. Now, last time we spoke, I remember it was a song recommendation and a book recommendation. And I know you said you listened to handpan music and you focus more on sleep healing music. And since then, it's something I've incorporated. It's actually a game changer. I wake up feeling very refreshed, with my 5 to 8 hertz handpan stuff. And I think last time it was Karmic Management and the Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle's work that you recommended. I'm curious to see if there's any books you've perhaps read since then, or maybe even different works or something you've learned since our conversation. that you think other people could benefit from as well?
So it's interesting. These days, I listen to a lot of books, and I listen to podcasts, and I have deep conversations with with AI. So I've gone very, very deep into the world of tea, and I've been learning not just tea, but I've been learning the different business models around tea. So a lot of the books and a lot of the content that I've been taking in the past year are all somehow connected to 18 different business models around making money around tea. And it's been amazing for me to learn so much and all these different business models, whether it's a marketplace or it's e-commerce or it's delivery, or it's consulting, whether it's adventures, whether it's trips, whatever it really is, whether it's tea houses or selling tea itself. I've been learning very, very deeply about each one of these different business models. So I've gone very, very deep. And because I like Blinkist, I think in the past year I've listened to over 100 different books. So there wasn't one book specifically that I've listened to that made a big difference. But that was interesting for me to learn about business models that I've not yet understood anything about, and to see how deeply I could learn about them and then play with them as much as possible. And another topic that is completely different to all of it, but I've wanted to learn quite a bit about, is a brand new topic in my life, but it's very, very trendy now in the world, is trauma informed. Very, very interesting topic, very, very deep topic. I highly recommend to everyone who's listening to this, ask your GPT to tell you about yourself in relevancy to trauma informed. And to even a really good hack is to say to GPT, be edgy with your answer. If you tell GPT to be edgy with the answer, GPT will take all of its filters off and tell you what's really true. And I recommend to not be anywhere public when you're asking this question. Sit down somewhere privately, because it's gonna be a deep, deep topic. But yeah, trauma informed has been really interesting for me to learn about.
That sounds really interesting. Yeah, I'm always fascinated by different AI prompts you can do to really understand yourself on a deeper level, rather than just getting ChatGPT to sort of comfort you a bit. And yeah, it's a big underlying theme of this episode as well. Just do the uncomfortable stuff, because life's going to be uncomfortable anyway. So you may as well go venture there yourself. In terms of the guest question, this one comes in from Sasha Myworm, and it ties in with what you're alluding to just now. But it was, what three hacks can you give normal people to use on a day-to-day basis?
Wake up in the morning and before you get out of bed, maybe speak out, like literally speak it out, don't not just in your head, and tell yourself, tell God, tell the universe, whatever it is that you believe in, what kind of people you wish to give your time to today. It's a really good hack. Just say in the morning, hey, I'd love to connect with such people today, or I'd love such people to be introduced to me today. You don't have to say their names. Describe the kind of people you want to see coming into your life that day. Very, very powerful hack to have. Number two, give yourself some tea time for yourself. So for me, tea time is either 20, 30 minutes, sometimes 1 hour, being alone, not on social media, not networking, not reading, not taking in any information. It could be in meditation, it could be in silence, it could be in my head, it could just appreciating tea. It's just tea time, just alone time, because we tend to be so busy and we pack up our time with so much and more and more and more and more and more and more. And we give our time to other people so much. We give our time to everyone else. So just have some me time, some tea time. Um, that's the second one. And the third one, third really good hack is structure your water. Don't drink regular water at all. Infuse your water, structure your water, put something in your water. So if you want to put tea, tag me in it. If you want to put herbs, if you want to put flowers, if you want to put some hydrogen, whatever it really is, some people put crystals, whatever it is you want to do, structure your water. It's so, so nice. Whatever water you're drinking, especially if you're drinking bottled water, throw something in the water. It could be a fruit. Structure it. Give it something more than just water itself.
I love
All of
that.
that helps you with networking a lot.
Have you ever had a cucumber in your water?
Of course, yeah,
Oh,
it's
it's the
very, very
best.
fancy. It
I
doesn't
love it.
add a lot of value. It does structure it, but once you start structuring your water with different things every day, like if you're adding an orange or a strawberry or a lemon, or if you're even adding some greens, some people add rosemary to their water. Ask GPT, what are the benefits of me adding this to my water? And you'll see that not only does it add value to your body, but it adds a lot of value to the way you're going to build relationships.
These are some wicked hacks. I like the first one particularly. Just asking the universe for online connections. Do you find that for you, it just will come to you in your mind after that, or sometimes it just happens in that sense? Like
No, I
you'll
think
just get in
it takes
tune.
a lot of work. It doesn't always come. It takes a lot of work. Sometimes we got to repeat it. The trick is to say it to yourself and then to say it to others. Like I'm constantly being introduced to people, but I'm not introduced to randomly to people anymore in my life. I used to be introduced to like, 20, 30, 50 people a week. It was like overwhelming because I wasn't clear enough with my community who I want to meet and why. And these days, I tell people that I'm looking to meet more people who would be interested in somehow collaborating with me in Chati. They would be interested in bringing more connectivity to the community. They're interested in bringing more unity and more opportunity. Yeah, I'm looking for those kind of people in Chati. And all of that ends with T, which is really, really nice. I'm looking for people who are looking to be more open to the world, open their hearts to going global. I'm looking for people who are willing to go outside of their comfort zone, but to know that if they do it with me, I got their back. I got their back. They're not gonna fall down. I'll make sure they quantum leap to the next level. So by you telling people the world who you want to meet regularly, one, you're practicing speaking out and practicing telling people who you want to meet and why, but you'll also get better and better at it, meaning that you'll end up using less words and you'll be more specific, and then you'll start seeing the synchronicities. And I get introduced to ideal people every single day of my life, and I love it. And thank you.
Yeah, wicked. What a great point to finish on, man. So much value
Thank
from
you,
this
brother. I appreciate
conversation.
you.
Wicked having you on. I'll put the usual links in the description. Do you have a preferred way people can reach out to you, or Instagram, LinkedIn, all of them, I suppose?
Easy, yeah. Instagram and LinkedIn, easiest way to reach out to me. If someone really wants, they can send me an email, whatever is easy for them. But we'll start somewhere. The key thing I tell people is that I have no way to know that they've listened to this. I have no way to know that they're interested in more. Even if they don't know what to ask me, the easiest way to network with someone is to take small baby steps. And it reminds me of every single time I've met with a celebrity, or I've met with a billionaire, I wasn't always there ready to engage them or ready to know what I said because I didn't know I was going to meet a billionaire. I didn't know I was going to meet Richard Branson or Tony Robbins that day. I didn't know I was going to meet Steven Seagal that day. I didn't know. But because I've been practicing walking up to people, starting a conversation, being confident with myself, engaging with people, I was practicing. So I tell people, if you're hearing this right now, practice. That one, they should send you a message saying to you, thank you, Harrison, for what you're doing. And then they can also follow up with me and say, thank you for this little conversation. And even tell me what you liked about it or what you took away.
Yeah, wicked advice as always. Gil, thank you so much. Appreciate you,
Thank you,
brother.
brother. Thanks, everyone.